It's a wild
Yeah.
animal. They out of there. It could have been a wild hamster. I'm gone.
Yeah.
Welcome to this ability clinic where some animals ain't fit to be trained.
He gets yanked upward and slams into the ceiling. Cut to black.
Let's talk about what was scary about this movie. Like, did you guys, while watching this, obviously there are some parts that are more like leaning towards horror and like terror. Are there scenes that stand out to you that you remember as being like, ooh, I was creeped out?
I think the first one for me, which is kind of silly, and it did come through with the AD, was a little bit of the, what do they call that when it's just that jump scare type of thing?
Yeah.
And it was just the little the praying mantis on the camera.
Yeah, that was scary.
Yeah.
A praying mantis sticks its head right in front of camera A. The insect obscures the view. Its bulbous head resembles an alien.
Yeah, I was like, oh, and it was just a praying mantis, you know, and I was like, oh, that's funny. That was really cool.
Yeah.
And I could picture that, you know. But yeah, I wouldn't describe this movie I guess it's hard, but it's not a scary movie like that, for me at least. But the jump scare, that did kind of get me.
When I was a kid, I was a lot more into horror than I'm into now. With this film in particular, there was a lot of jump scares, and I was so appreciative of that. I think I can watch more of Jordan Peele's film because it's more of like an intellectual thriller, and there's lots of like symbolism and stuff like that. But a lot of horror films today I stay away from. Part of it is practical because of my CP startle, and I just get scared because a lot of films today thrive on the jump scares.
You know, when you said that CP startle, I don't know, but the way that sounds cool. Like it's like, yo, check out my CP startle, man.
Yeah.
Like a motorcycle or something.
I'm like super scared of like jump scares and not knowing what's gonna happen, or if the orchestra is gonna be super loud, or like, because I'm really afraid to jump because of the CP startle.
Gotcha. There was a scene in here, I loved it. And it wasn't a scary thing. To me, it felt exactly like Jaws. There's a lot in this movie that feels like Jaws, by the way.
Yes.
So the part when the guy, what's his name, with the camera, when he shows up and they're doing all of that, that was exactly, when they were doing that whole prep scene, that was exactly Jaws. There was this intensity about it, and it was like, okay, yeah, let's go. I love that scene.
At Fry's, Angel loads equipment into his van.
Because the word's getting out. And when it does...
Sorry, people.
Outside Jupiter's claim.
You know people gonna come and do what they always do.
He steals a car battery.
Try and take it off themselves.
Later, she sews flags.
We'll let them come. It ain't gonna matter.
By the indoor arena, OJ presses a switch.
Because what we about to do,
a sky dancer inflates in front of Lucky.
they can't erase that.
I definitely appreciate that scene and that energy.
It was different from Jaws, obviously, but it felt exactly the same way.
100%. I agree. It's like Jaws.
How do you do that?
And I think that's what really separates this movie or elevates it from just horror. It's like an epic adventure. There's like a team up, you know, there's like planning.
Yeah. He's completely
that was amazing.
He's completely the Robert Shaw character.
Yeah, it's too easy. He's a smart, big fish. He's down under the boat.
Up the mountain, Holst cranks his camera as he searches the clouds. He spots Jean Jacket soaring in the distance. In the tent, Angel takes cover. Jean Jacket flies over Holst, who tenses his face as strong wind swirls around him.
I want to bring us back. I felt that two of the scariest scenes, we've already talked about, I think, one of the scarier portions of the movie, which is Gordy's attack.
Here you go, Gordy. Happy birthday.
Her gift opens and balloons float out. They watch the balloons rise. Cut to black. The applause signs flash over the studio audience bleachers. Gordy pounds on something in the living room. Cut to black.
One of the things that kind of seemed unrealistic to me, so he attacked everybody in the cast, but the bleachers are empty and there's nobody around. When you have the studio audience, it's 200 to 300 people and the kid is under a table.
Really?
You know.
Wow. I don't. Yeah, I disagree.
I would understand why people would want to GTS.
Yeah, especially if it's black people. You know, AJ, it only takes one to start running, and everybody's out.
I know that people will be out of there. I'm just saying, like, you see nobody.
They cut the portion between the chimp snapping 5-6 minutes into the attack. During those first 5 minutes, people cleared out, but the movie did not show us that. The movie showed us right up until everything was fine and normal and filming was going great. You're like almost to the end of his attack when you revisit things, because Mary Jo's already on the floor and the chimp is covered in blood and it's like very chilling. So I think they didn't show us the part where everyone freaked out and ran out.
You know, once that chimp starts going, it's like, hey, there's only X amount on stage and we ain't that far. Yeah.
I just found it unrealistic that nobody else was around. Like no other producers or nothing.
No,
like,
they're going.
You know,
who got? I can see that. If it was an unarmed person, I feel like people would have maybe attacked the person or something like that. That would have probably happened. But if it was, nah, man, everybody's clear.
Wild animal.
It's a wild animal. Way out of there. It could
Dang.
have been a wild hamster. I'm gone.
Yeah.
I feel like the reason that this is bugging you so much, I think this is Jordan Peele's intention of showing this part of the story, this chimp snapping and attacking people, because you can't control a wild animal. You can't tame an animal and like make it do your will for Hollywood or for spectacle, right? And so I think this is really driving home the point of this totally got out of control. This was not supposed to happen. And it really messed up Jupe, our little boy, who then grew up to be a man running a theme park thinking he could tame a freaking flying alien creature by feeding it horses. But I also wonder if that mindset of like, oh, I treated the chimp well, I'm Jupe, I must be blessed. Like I must be better at handling wild animals than most other people. Therefore, I have more authority or superiority when it comes to taming Jean Jacket, and clearly that was his downfall. I've heard other theories where the reason that Gordy did not attack little Jupe under the table is because he didn't look him directly in the eye. There was a tablecloth that was obscuring.
The chimp leans forward, staring at Jupe through part of the sheer tablecloth hanging between them. Blood covers Gordy's large teeth.
There's sort of that primitive explanation of like, oh, he just didn't intimidate the wild animal the same way everyone else around him did.
I thought he was just going in for the fist bump or something like that. And that was his training. He was trained to do the fist bump.
Yeah.
It's like right before they touched fists was when the shot fired. It was like such an intense moment.
Yeah.
As their hands nearly touch, Gordy gets shot.
I know it was going to happen, but I'm not saying there was anything else to do, but I don't know. But that part just made me really sad.
Oh, yeah, it's so tragic. It's supposed to be super uncomfortable, I think.
Jupe quivers with streaks of Gordy's blood on his face and shirt. In the present, Jupe leans against the desk in his office.
But maybe the little boy treated him with gentleness and kindness and respect and didn't horse around with him. And maybe that's why he was spared.
Horse around.
That's what I perceive.
That kind of leads to the scene that I was thinking about, which was when OJ takes the horse in, right? So this is after his father's gone and he's on set with the horse.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has the responsibility of doing that little training, right, to get everyone up to date. And his sister comes in, who's Keke Palmer. She's great. She's fantastic.
It's my favorite thing in the movie.
Yeah. And so we see how, she went into the performance, and I'm going to call it a performance. And what was really interesting to me is that this gave off this sensitivity training. And so I related to disability, right? And so it felt like, or DEI in general, where they were saying something to this group and they were trying to teach them how to interact, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah.
All right, let's get into some safety precautions while we're on set, shall we? Number 1, please refrain from making any loud noises, sudden movements, and keep your cell phones off. We'd really appreciate that.
And what do? They don't do it.
They
don't follow the extreme. They totally ignore it.
Hey, man, if she can't get near the back of the horse, what are we doing here?
A crew member puts a reflective ball in front of Lucky's face.
And who paid for their error? Who paid for their mistake?
Right. The knowledgeable people who are trying to do the right thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even though they're experts and they're there to train wild animals on a set, Hollywood or, these other people who are hoping to control the situation, they're not even doing what they're supposed to be doing to learn about controlling the situation.
Which tells you how Gordy's thing probably really went down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think for OJ's character, well, obviously because of his father's death, he had to step up. He does good work, but he's more with the horses on the technical side. Part of it is you have to wrangle people as well. Like you have to take control of the room, and you could tell that he was very uncomfortable.
Oh, well, I love that you said you have to wrangle people because you're absolutely right. OJ clearly has a good instinct with animals, with horses, and then you see that strength carry through when they're quote unquote trying to have an agreement with Jean Jacket. He kind of communicates with people like they're animals. Like he'll kind of click at them and be like,
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
Angel aims the camera higher. OJ points at the sky.
Yeah.
Em and Angel run outside. OJ pats his leg, urging them to hurry.
Whereas Emerald, she's much better at commanding the room. She's energetic. She has everyone's attention. But she wasn't given the responsibility to take care of her own horse as a kid. And she has to take pointers from OJ about dealing with Jean Jacket. But I think eventually in the end, she interfaces with Angel really well. She interfaces with the director guy who comes in, who wants to capture on Jean Jacket on film. And she ends up getting that picture at the end. So I feel like she is that missing piece where she can translate the wild animal stuff for humans, whereas OJ directly has that strength with the wild animal.
In the beginning, Emerald, she really that wasn't really her main gig. She wasn't thinking about that. So when she got there, she had all those other things on the side. I drive motorcycles, I can cook, I could do this. It wasn't her thing. Yeah.
I direct, write, produce, act. I do a little singing on the side. Motorcycles, baby. Look, I make a mean grilled cheese. If you're looking for crafty, just holler at me.
When she focused, that was her thing. She could do that. It was about that focus.
OJ keeps his eyes cast down.
The other scary scenes when the alien or when Jean Jacket sucks up all of the audience members during the Star Lasso experience and they're being digested by her. I don't know. I just thought that was horrifying.
Juke cranes his neck to peer straight above. His hat blows off as the wind creates a tornado. Behind him, people get sucked up into the air. Juke stares upward in awe. The dust cloud engulfs him. Cut to black. Inside the UFO, the audience members get sucked up through the hole. Massive undulating flaps move in the wind.
But I mean, did you find that scary or not? Not really.
Not scary. Sometimes it makes me giggle.
Seriously, okay.
Because I'm sick. But I mean, there's an aspect of that. I'm sure y'all have done this too. It's like, not that it's like, oh, that's good for y'all, but there is this. Well, what were y'all doing there anyway? You know what I'm saying? There's an aspect of that where y'all came to watch this spectacle, and you became part of it, which is part of what the whole movie seems to be talking about. Like, right, you become part of the spectacle.
The word that we said the most on set, or I said the most, was spectacle, and so that was the starting point. For me, in a lot of ways, of what I knew I wanted to give the audience.
It's fine when you're watching it, but oh no, now you're in it. Now it's a whole different thing. Like there's that, and so I don't know. I didn't really find it scary, but definitely, even audibly graphic. But not for me. For me, no, not so much scary because it's too out there for me to get scared at something like that, right? If it's something that's closer to reality, it will probably scare me more than anything that's just way out there.
But there's actual. Like we're having real conversation and hearings in Congress about these things. Like not necessarily about Jean Jacket, but there's real testimony about UAPs. It's a little too close to home for me and a little too close to comfort.
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
Are the discussions scary, or is it the thought that something is actually out there scary to you?
The fact that something is actually out there is scary. For a long time, all this stuff was under the radar, but it's more scary to me now because it's not fictional. They're talking about it on NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt. That's real. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I think UAPs came from a real recent government report.
Yeah, I remember that.
Do you not even call them UFOs anymore?
OJ keeps his gaze averted.
Remember when they declassified all that UFO footage a couple years ago? Yeah, well, people started paying attention. So they changed the name to UAPs. No one knows what the fuck a UAP is.
I saw that Navy clip. Couldn't really see him, though. Could have been better.
That's not our LNS, though, is it? It's not. That is the LNS, dude. Well, if there's like anything, it's rotated.
I don't know,
Well,
AJ.
not just one
Honestly, like
report, reports.
the scary stuff for me, like the real scary stuff that makes me not want to watch the news, is like the people stuff, like the human stuff, the shootings, the politics, the violence. Like that stuff is so much more real to me. And
Oh yeah, I don't watch this stuff either. But I'm just, I guess we're learning in this video as I've approached my 40s and as I'm getting older, I'm a big fraidy cat, and I was a lot more brave when I was a child.
Well, I think that's fair because when you're a child, you're much more innocent. Like you're not as in tune with the horrors of reality. And so it feels more fun and thrilling to kind of dabble in the scary stuff. And like, and in my mind, like that's why I still enjoy horror, because it's like it can be so far removed, like ghosts and stuff. But I think like Jordan Peele, he's tapping into sort of the stuff in real life that scares us, but then he's elevating it.
Your entire existence is so wrapped up in this world you've invented.
Jordan, your mac and cheese is ready. I cut hot dogs in it.
Okay, Mom.
Which just makes it, it makes it more enjoyable to consume, even though it is kind of scary.
Yeah, UAPs, UFOs, that stuff doesn't really scare me because, first of all, what they want with me, I don't know. But if they come get me, I probably can't do anything about it, right?
Yeah,
So,
why worry
all right.
about it?
Yeah, all right, whatever.
I really, really enjoyed this discussion as usual.
Are we doing thumbs? I'll give it a thumb and a half because I'm still want to advocate for, I might even just, the audio description was cool. I'll just say it was cool, but they could have definitely had a different narrator, a black narrator.
I agree with my brother Thomas.
Whether I'm ready now or in 500 years, well, cosmically speaking, the distinction is meaningless.
Well, okay.
Yeah, not quite 5 stars, Angel, 5 stars. When we're talking about audio descriptions, and even we didn't go through the whole movie. We totally could have gone through the whole movie and I would have been like, oh my God, they missed this, which is, that would be super annoying. I don't know if there's ways to change the way audio description is done where the movie can kind of maybe pause for a little bit longer, because otherwise I felt like the audio description felt like they were rushing. They had to kind of read ahead so that they could get to the next audio description and the next scene, even though the audio didn't quite match. And, I get practically it's weird to have 2 different lengths of the same film, but if you're already doing an audio description track, why not make a visual track that is more compatible with an audio description that's a little bit richer?
Yeah, so we do that, but not in a long film. I don't think I would necessarily want to consume it. I think that the thing that I would like is on demand, sort of that, but not the whole film. So I would like to have control over that. So maybe I might have paused and said, wait, provide me some more description, right? And then something like that. And I think that's definitely possible. I think that's probably where it will go. The AD, because the technology is going to be there. Whether that's going to be an AI sort of interface to be able to provide some more of that, or if that's going to be pre-recorded will be determined. But I think there's opportunities to do that. Like the Social Audio Description Collective, the team that I work with, we do, one of the teams that I work with, we do expanded audio description, but we usually do it for shorts, the Renegade series. And I can say, because, it was advertised that we're doing the audio description. That's going to have inline audio description, which is what you normally hear, just straight inline, right? And with the film.
Renegade. Subtitled Renegades, beginning Tuesday, October 1st on PBS.
And then it will also have expanded. So where there's spots where we stop, freeze frame, give you more description, boom, come back, right? And that's because we don't have the time to put it in there. And the total film length is probably only, 12 minutes or something like that. So extending it to make it about 15 is not a big deal. But if you talk about an hour and a half film and extending it to what, 2.5 hours?
I guess
ain't trying to do that.
Like I want it all. Give it to me all. If you can fit it in, I want to know what's on that screen. If you can fit it in.
Yeah, you're not different with me. You're not because I am for that, but many of us consume that with other people.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't want to sit down and watch this hour and a half movie with my kids and they're like, Dad, I'm done.
Yeah. I love the concept of like, okay, AI is this really controversial thing. We're trying to figure out how to make it work for us and not just kind of take over the world. And I love the idea of AI helping with supplementing audio description potentially, or just kind of making things more accessible.
There's so much work still to be done.
Yes, that's what I was saying.
This has been going on for so many years.
So many years. Circle of life.
Oh yeah, it's happening already, just not with film, right? So if you go to like the Be My Eyes app, they do a really nice iteration of the AI because they have the Be My AI. And the thing about it is like the technology has been out there to scan a product or whatever, scan a picture, and then the AI will generate an image description. But the thing about the AI is that you can ask further questions of that image description and get even more information. And that result, you can almost tailor the description to specifically what you're looking for. It works very nicely. It's a really cool thing.
Oh,
so you should check it out. Yeah.
Thanks for telling me, brother. Like,
yeah.
At the end of the day, folks, if you can, always check in with Thomas Reed. Read My Mind Radio, R to the EID.
Thank you.
If accessibility breakdowns are your thing, hit that like button and subscribe to Disability Clinic, and comment below and let us know what TV show or movie we should break down next. If you want to support the channel even more, check out our Patreon page where you can contribute any amount towards producing more content like this. Please check out the description below. We've got a lot of great links, resources, content, more resources for you to dive into. Thank you so much for watching, listening, and learning. I want to make sure we have time to do our introductions and audio descriptions and stuff.
It's my favorite part.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, the downhill. Like, yeah, this is easy.
Well, it's your favorite part because you have the and I did it with all due respect, you have like the most suave, sexiest. The way you describe yourself is like super suave and sexy.
Thank you. We'll use that as my description there.
Yeah, AJ's got it.
I have on a green bean, like collared short sleeve shirt.
What's your name?
Yeah.
Oh.
And when you said, AJ, when you said a green bean, I thought you were going to say collard green. You said collar. I was like, is he going to say collard green?
I have a collard green shirt on.
A black button-down shirt, and I'm seated in my vocal booth with some tan curtains around it. And that's who I am.
No mention of the Poconos?
Oh, yeah. You know, that's so funny because I usually do it. I was like, oh.
You rep the Bronx. So you always got to rep the
That is sort of a tagline now.